सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि यो न प्रचोदयात्. O God, give of life, remove of pains and sorrows, bestow of happiness, creator of the universe, the art most luminous, pure and adorable. We meditate on the peace inspiring guide our intellect to the right direction. आदरणीय पंडित जी, आदरणीय स्वामी, हमारे दोस्त, हमारे क्लासमेट, साथ में रवीन जी, उनके पिताजी, अंकल, मामा, मामी, सब कितने आर्य बंधु हैं, आप सभी को सादर नमस्ते। ऐसे शुभ कार्य में भाग लेने के लिए आप सभी को बहुत धन्यवाद। फ्राइडे है, जरूर आप पब जा सकते थे, बहुत कुछ और कर सकते थे, फिर आपने सोचा ऐसे कार्य में आए, तो आप सभी को आने के लिए बहुत धन्यवाद। आप सब लोग ने मुझसे कई बार सुन चुके हैं। अगर किसी के पास कुछ क्वेश्चन हो, if somebody wants to ask, you want to ask a question to me? You've been, I think every session I've spoken, you've been there, yeah? You want to ask any question in specific topic that I took onto, I'll talk on that. Otherwise, I talk on how to fuse spirituality, dharmic way, what we are doing to our health, mind, and eventually spirituality. So I've taken on my own self to bridge the gap between what we do, चाहे रामायण पाठ हो, गीता पाठ हो, या हवन का कार्य हो, at a very simplistic level, so that these kids who are growing up and their parents who are relatively young as well know the relevance of why we do these things. And the evidence is so much there that if we don't do these things, we are actually extremely going to damage not our health, our mind status, and forget about your spiritual part. So the world has come about full 360 degrees since Mahabharata, which was more than 5,000 years ago. There was a huge war, during which time most of our language, most of our traditions were broken, or most of educated people were killed. So there was a lack of actually teaching, and to make it worse, then we had invasions, either Mughal or British. 500 plus 200, it's about 700 years of looting of our culture and things. But we did very well, and one of the most prominent person who actually brought about these changes was, what this group actually does is giving credit to Maharishi Swami Dayanand Saraswati. In 1800, specifically he was born in 12th February 1824, and he died on 30th October 1883. In 59 years of his life, he was actually able to bring the Vedas. So, any question anybody wants to ask on the prior sessions? Otherwise, there's not too much time. You stop me, because if I start talking, then
About 7 minutes.
Okay, 7 minutes. So I'll just go directly onto something very, very important for our health. Swami Dayanand became Swami Dayanand from Mool Shankar. Not that somebody is born with any special qualities. Even Ram ji used to go to Vashisht Muni. ठीक है ना, आप समझते हो रामायण पढ़ने वाले। कृष्ण जी जाते थे ऋषि संदीप पुरी के पास, तो सब ने सीखा है, everybody learned a special way of living, which basically implies that every single person can become Ram, Krishna or Swami Dayanand. And my journey of actually discovering life of Swami Dayanand was to know what is the path, because nobody gets born. Okay, Jesus also between 12 years to 28 years was in India. If you read Bible, there's a period Jesus was missing too. And after his resurrection, where was he? So that's another thing to talk about. So everyone actually acquires special ability, and this ability is inherent in every male, female, every color, anyone. There is no discrimination. And understanding Swami Dayanand's life, what he did between 1845 to the 1860, when he went to his guru, Brijananji, he roamed around for 15 years Himalayas and other places. In that, there was a specific thing he did. It was, apart from exercises, he was physically very fit. And people tried to kill him about 17 times. 17 times he died, 17th attempt. But 16 times, why and how did he survive? So in 5 minutes, the secret is breath. He emphasized a lot on how we should breathe. You know, most people here, if they don't breathe for 3 minutes, you'll die. So most important thing of our life is breath. Do you ever think about how do we breathe? And there is more than enough science now behind to actually tell us why it's important to breathe properly. We've talked about food and other things before. So breath is very important. Food you can live with, water you can live about 3 months without it. Food about 6 months, something like that. But breath 3 minutes. So breathing, if you start being conscious of how you're breathing, it has huge impact on our body. What we live our life is what's called sympathetic system or conscious level, and this is what is Maya, this is what is Satan, whatever name you give. But we are molded by the society we grow in, the family traditions from 2 to 27 years of our life. And that becomes your label, and you believe in that. And most of the time it's a wrong thing. So what breath does is actually helps you readjust your true self if you start learning how to breathe. The biggest advantage of breathing properly, and it's called now in English coherence breathing. Okay, so there are about 100 different types of techniques. One of the most important techniques is learning how to hold your breath. It's called Kumbha. So if you read my book, it's very detailed in there. Kumbha. So you breathe in and you breathe out. So when you breathe out and every bit of breath goes out, you have to learn how to hold it for a while. And now, why should we learn how to hold the breath? Not during inspiration, meaning taking inside, but during exhalation when you are taking out, is because that's the time you can give yourself what's called intermittent hypoxia. So when we do the yajinas, the mantras are deliberately made so long so that you learn to, because you only can speak when you are breathing out or not. You can't speak when you are breathing in. So mantras, if you do properly, are meant to extend your breath out. So what's the benefit of these things? Ab dekhiye, why do we make temples on top of hills? Why Shiva is supposed to be on Himalayas? Why everyone goes to hill stations? Because that indirectly reduces oxygen there. So you could do pilgrimage, that's fine, because there's a mental attachment to it. But the physical reason why people get better by going to a mandir or something on a hill is because you are doing intermittent hypoxia. And a lot of people have major chronic illnesses, and when they go visit places, by the time they return, they feel better. They think it's God's blessing. But there's nothing like that. God lives in you, which is through your breath, which is called prana. So my job, or what I've been trying to do over the last 25 years, is trying to bring out each of these mantras and see the medical relevance to these things. And one of the most important thing is this. When you do like intermittent fasting, you become very fashionable now. When we were saying Ekadasi kar lo ya Hindu dharm ke anusar fasting karo, so nahi, that's Indian or Western. Why? But when the Gora says intermittent fasting, yes, I am a fan of intermittent fasting. So you become very proud. So I'm using the English term for it, intermittent hypoxia, because it becomes fashionable. So number one advantage what it does, so when the oxygen goes little bit below 98% is normal saturation. I am myself using pulse oximetry and other thing can bring it down to 70% oxygen in my body now. After about 20 years of training. It's a very hard training. But so say look, for example, Michael Phelps, yeah? How did he win so many gold medals in the Olympics? At his home, if you go and read, you don't have to believe me, go and find about Michael Phelps. He had an intermittent hypoxic training. So his bed itself had reduced amount of oxygen. So when he jumped in water, his his amount of, so when you reduce oxygen, your erythropoietin increases. Erythropoietin is a component which binds oxygen. So efficiency of oxygenation becomes very high. So that's one of the benefits done. So Michael Phelps did it, a lot of other top athletes do it, a lot of yogis do it. So how come yogis without clothes can sit on mountains, on snow? They're not godly. Swami Dayanand was not godly. We believe that he was a man as well. So what was his special characteristic? After nichoring and all this thing I did, I found these people knew how to breathe properly. So I'm sharing this knowledge. From today, start learning and become conscious of your breath. 1, your anxiety will go. 2, your depression sinks. 3, these kids will become much more intelligent because your oxygenation is better. So it's not about too much oxygen, because the doctors can give you cylinders of oxygen. Oxygen produces oxygen radicals. So it's not that oxygen is the best thing. It's actually reducing it for a small while. In that small time, your erythropoietin increases, what's called nitrous oxide. So nitrous oxide is a component in the blood which causes vasodilation. So you can naturally do coronary bypass to yourself if you learn how to breathe Kumbhak properly. Your spare blood vessels around the blockage will grow bigger by doing, and these are scientifically shown. Your brain, people who have risk of getting stroke, your blood vessels will become bigger. And men who have erectile dysfunction, you won't have a problem. So what we say, erectile dysfunction is almost completely related to the occurrence of heart attack in men. So, but as soon as you learn how to breathe properly, you will be able to produce these gases in yourself. So, pranayama or breathing exercises are very important part, and one of the activities that Swami Dayanand himself did. So apart from his physical fitness and his mental, how did someone bring 4 Vedas after 5,000 years of destruction? And again, imagine his intelligence, how much intelligence he had to write it. So the secret is to teach your kids very early. They are very right age, about 7-8 years. Just Anulom Vilom. And this is from Swami Dayanand's book. Easy, if you see in my book, it's all there. What he did, I just basically put it in there. So he used to do these practices. So for our people who are actually practicing dharma, education is good. It's better than being ignorant. But education without action is almost zero. But most of us have education and we have done these rituals for about 30, 40, 50 years. So why there is no success is because we are missing the third component, which is upasana. So we say stuti, prarthana, upasana. If you don't bring upasana will come once you start learning some little activities: silence, solitude, and breathing exercises. So my message today is that please become, this knowledge that is there has to now express in your life. You must become more healthier, physically, mentally, and you need to grow spiritually, because this is the whole reason why you're doing. Otherwise, children will get distracted. They'll say there is no benefit. So we as adults, we have to have some benefits in our life. So kids believe, because we believe in by evidence. The next thing is, then you will maintain such a good culture, such a good religion which has all this knowledge for everyone. So thank you for inviting me. Thank you for the evening. I hope I can give you small secrets of getting your life in order, helping your children, your family, your relationships, by applying our religious, dharmic principles into a scientific manner, and that's the language of the world today, evidence. Thank you very much. Yeah.
So what is the real way of breathing and breathing out?
So you breathe in deeply. So okay, so
You
one
pull everybody, like everybody do that and learn that. Because these days I've seen that a lot of people are dying from heart attack.
Yes.
And,
Young people.
mentally stressed from work.
Yep.
And mentally stressed from home too.
Yeah.
So these things, like people can do it at home.
It's very simple. It's not hard.
Yeah.
But if you really want to bring your oxygenation, what I am doing now about 70% for 3 minutes, so I forgot to mention, the other thing is it produces stem cells. So when a baby is growing in a tummy, in a mother's tummy, the baby is exposed to oxygen, which is only about 2 to 5%. As soon as the baby is born, there is 20% oxygen in the air, and the stem cells run away from the blood and then hide in your bone marrow. So now, stem cells are the single cells that made us all. Your eyes, your hair, your teeth. It is still in your body, but because we don't know how to stimulate it, we can't use it. Every body cell has a spare part in it. But oxygen, the stem cell can't travel in blood because it's got 20% oxygen. So when we do Kumbha, when we do pranayama, we are bringing down the oxygen to a point that the stem cells from your bone marrow will travel. That's how you regenerate your heart, your brain, you will become intelligent. Each of these things are now scientifically now validated what is in our book. So I'm not talking some airy-fairy things, yeah? I don't have actual time for that. I was at work, came directly here for my friend and you. So that little knowledge that I have, I want to share. I want to help. I have a YouTube in which every Sunday I post and share on online with people all the breathing exercises. So please, let's not only keep our religion, which is so beautiful knowledge, but apply it to our life. Just take next step. And I can tell you, so breathing in, you ask me, so you have to inhale. Breathe in, right? To count of 4, then breathe out. Count of 6. So do it 15 times because the problem of our body is carbon dioxide. So first you have to remove carbon dioxide. Because of carbon dioxide, you want to keep breathing, you are fearful of death. When the carbon dioxide concentration goes down, then the urge to breathe starts getting less. Understand? So it's called Bhastika. Very nice, eh? It's a game, yeah, we can play. Yeah, I can play games with you boys, yeah. You like that one? So once you remove carbon dioxide, then a long inhalation. Now everyone do it. Breathe out. Now, through your lips, keep pushing your air. Because there's still air there. When you think you have brought down, so keep going. Now it's called residual volume. Whoever does medicine or has done any health courses will know. About 500 mils of air sits non-oxygenated air. You are actually almost now empty. Now the trick is, this is why it's hard. When you have emptied, then you have to hold it. That's why it's so hard. Now, empty and now hold. So I can easily go up to 80, count of 80. So you will start with 5, then we'll go 10, then 15, 20. So the time blood takes your body 1 minute for the whole circulation, when the blood comes back to your lung, within 40, count of 40, your blood becomes deoxygenated. So what the alveolar spaces are taking in is deoxygenated blood. So I use pulse oximetry at home when I'm doing breathing exercise to check. And sometime we can have a group session and I'll let you see and I'll let you practice how you bring down your oxygen. So the benefits are not only mental health, anxiety, depression goes, your stress goes, your stem cells are produced, nitrous oxide are produced, which helps your immune system, which helps your bacteria, microbiome of your tummy. The benefits are unlimited by doing this exercise. So then you hold it, it's a practice. So you can go on my YouTube site, I don't want to hold your program. On the YouTube, you will see all breath. I do about 25 different types of breathing exercise. Every Sunday I do it. So have a look, have a feel. And I'm most happy, as I say, I come and do practical with you. Just dedicate a session like this after the puja and we'll sit and do it. I'll teach everyone. Just do it at home. And today is not time. Next time I'll talk about how to breathe so that you know how the Ozempic, Morong, all these medications are there. By breathing, you can suppress your GL1 and you can actually help with your metabolism and weight loss. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti.